They were like, oh, the sweats. And I was like, fuck yeah. It was like fever. I was like, mm-hmm. Like anything that like seemed serious, I was just like, I got it.
We're your hosts, Tara, Nora, and Allie, and you're listening to Bad Advice Only.
We're just three New York City rats talking about scurrying around the Big Apple. Here, we make the New York City mistakes so you don't have to.
We're begging you. Leave us a review and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Bad Advice Only NYC. We release new episodes every Monday, so stay tuned, rats.
I've given a golden shower. I've never received a golden shower.
Wow.
It was really hard.
Did he like laid under you? Or?
It took me like 12 tries. It's so hard to pee on someone.
It's hard to pee at all for me because I have like a really weird bladder.
Okay, well, that's not my reason. I think it's just because I've been potty trained for over 30 years.
I'm confused. I was imagining like a shower scenario. You're saying you peed in the bed?
That's what he wanted.
Does he have a mattress protector?
I had so many questions, and I don't know how dark we want to get, but it was an abusive relationship, so I'm just glad I got out of it for that.
This is a comedy podcast, so there's really no room for your battery.
I can make some jokes about battery. Good times.
I'm not making light of battery. I'm just saying it's a comedy.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Okay. Are we not going to address the golden shower? We're just going to move on?
I think we're good on that
I think
topic.
we've covered it. I don't have any follow-ups.
No follow-ups. Wait, I have to ask, was he inside you? Okay. Today, we're going to be talking about how to find a job in New York City, because all three of us, believe it or not, have found jobs here.
Gainfully employed. Did we have to sleep our way to the top?
Maybe.
No one wants to touch me, so I didn't.
You hear that? Allie did it on pure work ethic.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong about this, but I believe all three of us moved to New York without a job. I know I did. I know Tara did.
Yeah, I did not have a job.
I had a job lined up.
You
when I moved.
did?
You did?
You were graduating from college and you applied for jobs?
Yeah, weirdly, I actually applied for where Nora and I met. I applied there first.
Oh, I didn't
And then
know
I
that.
applied to that translations company at the same time. And the translations company offered me $5K more, and I said, done.
Tell us the year and how much you were making.
It's 2014 and $40,000, which
That's
is pretty good
for that
for
time
like having
period.
no experience.
Yeah, that's
And what was your degree in?
I double majored, thank you so much, in history and economics, and then I got a job at a translations company, and I speak 0 languages.
You speak one.
Speak Latin.
What, you speak English?
I thought this company was so cool when I went to go interview because it was like the office was on Park Avenue, and I remember going up and it was like 2 floors and it looked really cool. It had like these blue couches, and I don't know. It was like my first time in New York for like a really big interview, and I was like, oh, I'm so cool. I can't believe they want me. This was the company from hell. I fucking hate this company. I hope they burn to the ground. I think they have.
I had no idea you hated that.
I didn't even know
everybody
I
that
didn't know.
worked there feels the same way.
Wait, I'm so confused by your timeline because I know your Michael Page days. I know where you two met.
I was a job hopper for a little bit. Well, so it was like a project management role, and they were telling me that I was going to do like legal information, like that's what I would be translating. But the way that this job worked, this was so fun.
Not a
like,
lawyer.
Not a
Doesn't speak
lawyer.
other language.
Look, it was like it was like all intellectual property work, and the craziest shit is that this company has been sued like 6 times since I've left. Like I have been eligible to receive multiple payouts for so many reasons. One being that like I was only there for like 4 months. Okay, this was like the worst job ever. Within that 4-month period, some girl in HR was like, oopsies, made a boo-boo. I thought the CEO emailed me asking for like a list of everyone's social security numbers, so I gave it to them.
She gave it to them?
Yeah, that was obviously spam. Like it was a hacker like pretending to be the CEO. Everybody in the company had a shared mailbox. So we were getting millions of emails a day that had nothing to do with the work that we were like focused on.
What?
And we would just have to sift through all emails that came to my email address. Everybody in the company could see. Basically what would happen is like you'd get like an email assigned to you, and it'd be like, okay, Allie, like you're going to handle this project, and it's going to be like Dutch, but like Netherlands Dutch. Like you have to find a Netherlands Dutch translator, and this is your budget, like $300. And all these translators would charge by word. So I'd have to find like shitty translate. Like if I had no money, I'd have to find like a shitty translator. Then that's where my job comes into play is I'd have to go sentence by sentence and just make sure like there were enough sentences matched the original. I swear to God. So like if something had like 10 sentences, for example, I'd have to make sure that 10 sentences were translated. But I was responsible for every language. So I was doing Chinese, Korean, like the Japanese, like all of the Asian languages were so hard because I was like, I don't know.
You don't even know what like counts as a word.
I don't know
if you don't
dick
speak.
from my knee, you know? I
wonder how terrible these translations were.
It was really bad. And I also had to quit that job because I was like, I can't take it anymore. And that's when Michael Page reached out to me and I was like, I got to get out of here because it was just such a negative environment. I was working from like 6 a.m. until like 9 p.m. every night. Like I would be like at the laundromat in Brooklyn translating shit. I left and I actually killed my brother off again at this company.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So
I don't have a brother, but
now,
I killed off my fake brother.
So now we have to tell the original Allie killing off her brother's story, which is when Allie worked at Victoria's Secret in high school.
No, I was in college. Shout out Lancaster Mall.
Fuck. When Allie worked, I'm sorry, in college, that's worse. She didn't know how to quit at Victoria's Secret. So instead of Googling it, asking someone, she just told them that her brother was dying.
I panicked. And I made this horribly elaborate story where I was like, my brother Jacob, again, I don't have a brother because it's bad juju to use like a real family member. So I said, he was ziplining in Costa Rica.
What?
You don't know that he was ziplining?
They asked questions. They wouldn't just take it at face value that my brother was dying. And they were like, what happened to him? And I was like, well, he like fell ziplining and he got like a really rare infection and now he's an infection in his heart. They actually did call me a year later and they were like, hey, like, would you have any interest in coming back? And I was like, no.
You're like still upset about my brother.
The translations company did the same thing. I was like, look, my brother's dying. Like, I have to like go home. And they were like, you can work part-time. And I was like, no, I can't work part-time.
Let me tell you a more appropriate way to quit. Slam all your shit on the ground, flip your desk over, and walk out at 2.
I, too, killed off a family member, and I completely forgot until you told me this.
Oh, my God. Who'd you kill? You have a brother and sister.
This is so ridiculous. I worked at the Cotton Patch Cafe. Shout out.
Sounds racist.
In where?
In Lubbock, Texas.
That's way worse.
I was in college, and my sister, Nora, was coming up for a football game, believe it or not.
It was my only football game I ever saw in college.
Yeah, she drove like 7 hours to come up, and we watched our two teams battle sports.
Who won?
I have no idea.
Welcome.
All I know is I wore the most embarrassing outfit that day.
I have it. We'll post it.
I'm in cowboy boots,
and
a game day
dress.
Dress, which you probably don't even know what that means.
In the South, you wear game day dresses.
Also,
you own a dress.
But anyways, I forgot to request my shift off, and my boss was, can I say Nazi?
Nope, that got canceled.
Okay, Nazis are
done.
canceled.
Skinhead appropriate.
Were they a skinhead?
No, they were just sticklers about the schedule, and I couldn't get anyone to switch shifts because it was game day.
They didn't hate Jews.
They didn't hate Jews.
Yeah, it seems like being a stickler for time management's different than hating Jews to me.
Guys, people used to say they were Nazis.
I see what she was doing. She was going with time Nazi, but
okay.
She misled the story.
Go on.
I didn't know you had to say time in front of Nazi.
Let's just, we've got a Jew in the room. She's okaying it. Keep it moving.
Did you see the sign language for Hitler? Show Nora.
Crazy.
That's sign language for Hitler? Stop.
Okay, so American Sign Language for Hitler, you put 2 fingers up on your lip so it kind of looks like the
stash.
So it looks like the Hitler stash. And then you also raise your hand in the Hitler salute.
Heil Hitler.
You're saying you Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We're going to fact check that. We're not.
No, I mean, we saw it on a video.
Yeah, it was an American Sign Language translator.
So
anyways,
who did you
I killed off one of our grandparents.
Oh no, they're all dead now. Is that your fault?
Kind of. So our
Which
grandpa.
one did you pick off?
Our grandpa lived 2 hours north of
Was he alive? Was he alive at the time of this lie? That's
Yes.
so fucked up.
It's really fucked up.
But our grandma was dead, so I used the story of what happened to our grandma and put it on our grandpa.
That's so fucked up.
Why didn't you just say, "Oh, my grandma's dying. Like this is what happened because she's already dead"?
Yeah, you should
Then it
kill
wouldn't
off
have been
someone who's
alive.
already dead.
Our grandpa wasn't even talking to
What's the
us.
story? But also, for the record, may you never judge me again for killing off a fake family member when she killed off a real
I've
family
never-
member and lied about it.
I have never judged you for you killing off your brother. I think it's hysterical. And listener, do it too. I don't give a fuck.
Full support. Bad advice
Bad
only.
advice only. Wait, so what was this story?
Basically,
I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you. Basically, I like told my boss, I was like, I'm so sorry I can't make this Friday shift. And I was hooking up with one of the dishwashers guys, I think.
I just spit. That was just out of left field.
No, so yeah, I told my boss, I was like, my grandpa fell and
Fuck, Tara, that's actually what happened to her grandma. It's so fucked up. What the fuck?
so I lied and said that he fell and I was the closest family member to him. So I had to drive the 2 hours because everyone else lived too far away to go help him, yada, yada, yada. And so the guy that I'm hooking up with he overhears the story while I'm telling our boss this. And he's texting me all night like, hey, get there safely. Meanwhile, I'm at the football game with Nora.
Well, you
So
told
your
them.
grandma, in reality, though, fell and died.
Yes.
Yeah, and it does affect me. I'm very sad about it.
I am sad about it too. We loved grandma.
She was
R.I.P.
great. Love you, Pearl.
I don't know if any of you are being serious.
Yes.
No, it's dead serious. We
Grandma-
loved our grandma.
Grandma was awesome.
She was so funny.
Yeah, she was great.
She was a very proper lady.
Yeah, and I would fart in front of her all the time, and she would just like either try to ignore it or tell me it wasn't ladylike.
One time I choked on a cherry tomato in front of her.
A full cherry tomato.
And she was so just upset that I was choking at the dinner table. Like, it just was not
It wasn't
proper.
It was not ladylike to choke.
So, Allie, how'd you quit Michael Page?
Why didn't so they
Well, I
they
didn't.
quit me. So I was never technically fired from them. They were like, I got to them before. Like I knew why they were calling me in, and I said, before you say anything, I don't want to work here anymore. Basically, in an agency recruiting firm, you guys know this, but for the listeners, like they think this is like fucking Wall Street, and they walk you out immediately. Like you're not allowed to gather your things. I was working in the Chrysler building. And they fucking packed up my shit. And I was like, I can go get my stuff. And they were like, we'll get it for you. And I was like, are you afraid I'm going to like ransack the free bagels and the bull pit? Like, I don't. Anyway, so before that, though, I was trying to interview for another job. And they really had it out for me. Like, was I making money? No. But I was only there for like 3 months. Like, this was also like a very short stint. Like, I was fucked in that company for a variety of reasons. Cause
Wait, time out. Your first 2 jobs don't even total a year.
No. Penguin Random House had a posting again. And I was like, oh, like full circle. Had this job opportunity before the translations company. Like I should definitely take it again. So I'm trying to go in for an in-person interview. So I'm trying to interview for Penguin Random House, but because I wasn't like performing to my highest potential, they were like, you can't call in sick. Like we need a doctor's note. Like I tried to call, like I emailed them at like 5 a.m. and my boss like immediately emailed me back and was like, you can't take a sick day. Like we need a doctor's note. I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, I had never taken a day off. Like, there was no reason why I should.
You'd only been there for 3 months.
No, well, who cares? So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go get a doctor's note. But I wasn't sick. So I was like, I'll just go to City MD. I start running around like 4 blocks in Manhattan in my work clothes, like trying to work up a sweat to make it look like I had a fever.
You could just tell them you don't feel well, but go on.
And I was like, I gotta make it believable. I'm like dripping sweat because this is again like my trucker Al. This was like my 20-year-old trucker Al, like 30 pounds heavier face because I was miserable in this job. I would just eat like a bag of chips every day. I would just...
Was this your cannoli diet?
No,
day?
no,
Oh, this is another
was
time.
after. I was actually much healthier with my cannoli diet, but I walk into the City MD And they're like, all right, check off all these symptoms that you have. And it was like explosive diarrhea. I was like, fuck yeah. They were like, oh, the sweats. And I was like, fuck yeah. It was like fever. I was like, mm-hmm. Like anything that like seemed serious, I was just like, I got it.
So stupid.
So I go, they take me to the exam room and they're like, okay, like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm feeling a little under the weather. Love for you to just like take a look at things. They were like, okay, well, I'm going to have... City MD used to have this thing where like all the people that would come in and take like your vitals and do all the pre-work were like med school students. Yeah. So like this was like, right, not, you mentioned it, I hadn't even been like 1 full year out of college yet, so like I was still hanging out with my college friends all the time. In walks like one of the MVP basketball players as the med school student
from your college.
From my college. Anyway, I'll call him like Todd, and he's like looking over my charts and like all the symptoms that I've checked off, and he goes, so you've got some diarrhea, huh? And I'm like, shit, like I really got to commit now to this. And I'm like, yeah,
no,
yeah,
the opposite, Allie.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I got the diarrhea, whatever. And he's like, okay, how are you feeling?
Diarrhea.
And I wasn't gonna like fuck him over and be like, look, write me like a fake doctor's note to get out of work so I can go on a job interview. Like he was trying to be a doctor. Like it's so fucked. So I'm like, yeah, I've got the shits, like things aren't going well. And he's like, okay, I'm going to need you to pee in this cup. And so he takes me to the bathroom and I pee in this cup and it's like just hot pipe and pee. And I come out of this bathroom and he's just so ready to take it from me.
No.
And I was like, holy shit. So he takes my pee and I just go back with my head hung down.
Just
to
ashamed.
The and the doctor, the actual doctor now comes in. She's pressing on my stomach and I was like, ow, it hurts. She's like, yeah, you're severely dehydrated. Like, you need to go home and like drink gallons of water immediately. And so I still got a doctor's note. But the worst part of that story was that I saw that Todd guy out like the next weekend at a bar, and he was like, "How are your shits?" But yeah, I got out of that job. I got the interview, and
she got the job.
And then I quit before they fired me. So it all worked out.
The dedication is so strong with you. You're so loyal.
Always
but
commits.
You commit, but to all the wrong things. You're so misguided.
Like, looking back, there's so many things I could have done that would have been easier.
Yeah. Just forge a doctor's note. Ever heard of Photoshop? How much were you making at Michael Page?
45, and then I took a 10K pay
You said
decrease.
40 early.
No, that was the...
I went 40, 45,
Whoa.
35.
Ooh.
That's how desperate I was to get out of those two
You
jobs.
took a 10K
So you took
page.
a 10K cut to get out. Wait, Tara, how much were you making in your first job in New York?
So when I moved to New York, like you, Nora, I was jobless.
$0 now.
So $0 an hour.
Tara's job trajectory is so interesting. Like, if you like, every time something happens, Tara's like, yeah, I did that one time. She's like, one time I delivered a baby. Like, it doesn't matter
That's
what
true.
I say. She's
she
like,
literally
fucking...
used to deliver babies, and she has no
One time I
skills.
drove a truck and broke my neck. Like, the list goes on.
Yeah, I've done all those things.
So Axelon was my first job, and it's a recruiting agency. Pretty shitty, I'm not gonna lie.
Is that where you were trying to put all your stuff into Live when you were moving?
It was, yes. I did put all my stuff in Axelon.
So shout out to Axelon for
Thank
being
you.
a supportive employer.
Well, they didn't know. When I was looking for jobs in New York, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do, no fucking clue. I just applied to anything I saw online. So everything I was seeing was like recruiting oriented. So I was like, I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, fuck it, I can do it. And I interviewed at 3 companies.
Fuck it, I can do it.
I didn't even understand what it was. In the interview, I was like, so what do you do here? But I just remember one of the companies, the third round of one of the companies was like, you're going to have to pitch like our agency to us. And I literally was just like, I'm not going to do that. And I just dropped out because I just didn't want to do that. Anyway, so the one job I did get was Axelon.
How many jobs did you apply for?
3. My whole life is so weird. I applied to 3 jobs, I got 1, and I've been in recruiting for 10 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So when I got the Axelon job, I didn't know anything. But they offered me $35,000. And in my mind, I was like, you're supposed to negotiate. Like, that's very important.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, $35,000. That's not going to work. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, understood. What did you have in mind? And I just had no idea how money worked. So I just go, 36 $1,000.
That's how you got to $36,000.
And they just
Why didn't you be like, talk to anybody about this before
I didn't know.
Why didn't you Google
All I
it?
knew-
Just like Allie not knowing how to quit.
All I knew is that you're supposed to negotiate. So I said, and I didn't really understand how much $1,000 sounded like a lot. So I was like,
In New York City.
because I never
all tax money.
I never had $1,000.
Like, it honestly made zero difference if you had made $35,000 or $36,000.
And the
saw-
funniest
you
Two
didn't
thing,
even-
extra dollars in your paycheck.
She saw like a half penny on her paycheck.
the funniest thing
increase.
is that when I said that number, they immediately were just like, okay.
They should have taken their offer back. They should have been like, this
Yeah.
bitch
She's
can't
gonna be a
recruit.
horrible recruit.
She can't negotiate.
Later, I found out all the boys started at 40.
Yeah.
So. Probably, they might have negotiated a little better. Anywho, any other stories?
I fucked my boss.
Oh my God, Tara.
I forgot about this crooked dick.
Crooked dick?
Yeah, he had like,
He had a crooked dick
I did fuck one of my bosses in my job
early on.
yeah. It wasn't for any gain.
Did you go
wasn't
into
for-
the job thinking like, oh, I'm gonna fuck my boss?
No, and he wasn't my boss at the time. He was like another team's boss, and then just by happenstance, I was
I
going.
fell on his dick.
It wasn't for obviously financial gain. God, I wish I could have so easily fallen on his dick. It was so weird shape that it took like sexual gymnastics just to enter me. I once described it as like a corkscrew, which someone then was like, "Oh my God, like duck dicks," and I was like, "Excuse me." And
Are
so
duck dicks corkscrews?
Yeah, if
They
you look-
sure are.
If you look up duck dicks,
if
they're-
Who
listener,
was this person? Like, why did they know what a duck's dick looked like?
so ducks are rapists,
yeah,
they rape the female.
they
duck.
also rape dead bodies.
They do.
Human?
So, and their dick,
Humans.
I don't know
Thank
how
God.
to describe it. It like launches out of their body, the dick.
Thank God.
And during evolution,
I need a moment because Allie thought that ducks.
They sound so scary.
what did you think?
She thought that ducks raped dead human bodies.
How many dead bodies are hanging around duck ponds, Allie?
Just thank God. That's not what they're into.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how we're gonna cut this in, but Allie imagined a rapist duck raping human dead bodies.
Like, you think maybe in like war zones, ducks just gather.
Ducks are on the front line in Iran and Iraq.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna cry.
Quack, quack, motherfucker.
Oh my. This is so out of
She
hand.
was so scared. She
It's not even 9 a.m.
Humans?
How many human dead bodies are lying around, Allie?
You never know. Like, we live in a very, like, clean area.
What?
Where they get rid of the dead bodies. But, like, I don't know what it's like in, like, Iowa.
They just leave the dead where they lie at the mercy of the ducks.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not.
I'm thinking, like, back in colonial times where these ducks just fucking going nuts.
What?
Are ducks new birds? Like, were they what do you mean? Were they around
Like
like colonial time?
Pre-Soviet Union?
Yeah, pre-Civil War.
I don't know. Somebody fact check it. Help us.
Industrial Revolution. Ducks.
Oh.
I'm gonna look it up.
Why does his dick remind you of a duck dick?
Because unfortunately, after I told someone about the corkscrew shape of his dick, their reaction was, "Oh, like a duck's dick." And so I then had to Google it, and there's a whole video, look it up, listener, where it talks about the evolution of the genitalia of male and female duck reproductive organs. Yeah. And basically, male ducks were raping female ducks. So throughout evolution, their vaginas changed shape into more of a corkscrew shape, so it was harder for the duck dick to get in, which then caused the duck dick to evolve into more of a corkscrew shape to get in there. There was no rape involved in my sexual adventures.
I'm still laughing about.
I'm on the Wikipedia page for just ducks.
I can't stop thinking about Allie thinking ducks were raping dead humans.
My Google searches, when did ducks come into existence? And they haven't given me a date.
Listeners,
A relationship with humans. They're so wholesome.
No. What they mean.
No. Oh, there wasn't anything about human duck rape.
No, that wasn't in the Wikipedia.
No.
Back to jobs. This isn't the duck dick episode.
No, so let's talk about your boss.
Oh my god.
What did she do?
What did she do?
I want to preface by saying I loved her and I loved
she was
this company.
amazing,
I really did. But
we were
she
her
had
bitches.
one little bugaboo.
She had a couple bugaboos. She couldn't order her own lunch.
She also made us like plan her daughter's bat mitzvah like on the clock.
Oh.
And then
That's
she would
great.
like get in every day at like 11 and leave every day at 3. And then the 2 hours that she was working, she'd just be yelling at her daughter, who was like,
What?
I would say about 30 pounds overweight. She was
Oh
like
my god, we can't say
10.
Her daughter was like 10 years
No,
old.
we do
and
have to say that because the fucking treadmill story is so funny.
Oh my god.
In our boss's opinion, her daughter was a bit overweight and she was like 12 years old. And every day
Chunky
she would
monkey.
be on speakerphone with her daughter in her office with the door open. And she would be like, I need a new name for her daughter. She'd be like, Marcy, I don't want to hear it. Get on the treadmill now.
And then she'd have like a rotating au pair for some reason. Like the au pair was never the same. So she'd be like, I don't care. How dare you tell like your au pair you hate them? Like, get on the treadmill.
She goes, you can't tell her to fuck off.
Oh.
She literally screamed that in the office.
There were
once.
6 of us all standing like in the hallway just listening
Just
with like
mouths
bated breath.
open, like
Mouths
oh.
She was like, you can't tell her to fuck off. Get on the fucking treadmill.
Oh my god.
And then she would like get off the phone, not say anything about it, and then she'd be like, can you come in here and help me order sushi for lunch?
Every day she ordered sushi for lunch and she couldn't work the website, so she would be like, Allie?
And she wasn't my boss. She was Nora's boss. Like I had two
But
bosses
I
of my
just
own.
didn't tolerate this behavior. At my agency, there's this like story that everyone, like whenever I see someone from that agency, they still tell this story, and
Oh,
I was
God.
there for it. There was this guy who worked there, and remember at agency, someone got fired like every single week.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a very toxic environment.
It's so weird because we got excited about it.
Yeah, we were
but,
like, ooh.
But yeah,
It was like
almost
the
daily.
like the Hunger Games. You
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
ooh,
May the odds ever
who's-
be in your favor.
yeah,
right.
I guess it did mean that we got some of their money. So
Right. So there was this guy who worked there, and he was like a couple weeks into the job, and he was referred in by like 3 different people. So he was supposed to be good.
oh yeah, 3 referrals, gotta be good.
And apparently he had like half a lunch on his desk. He got up and left and never came back. Like ever. And everyone, all the higher ups were like, where the fuck is he? Like, what happened? Like accosting.
Did he get hit by a taxi?
Right. They're like accosting all of his referrals. That guy just bounced and never talked to any of those guys
Stop it.
again.
He quit. That was his way of quitting.
He quit the job, never came back, left his lunch on his desk, and never spoke to the referrers again.
His friends.
Right.
Fuck up.
At the very least, peers slash.
No, he
What a
said
crazy
it's not
move.
worth it. He dropped those guys.
I think we should like just tie it together and say like there's no good job in New York City.
But we can't say that because we all love our job.
No, I
now.
love my job now. Oh,
And we loved PRH.
that's true.
So finding a job in New York, we didn't really talk about it.
I think I'm gonna take down my LinkedIn page.
No, you need that.
I don't want the listeners to find me.
Find me. Feel free to connect. Feel free to write me a review.
LinkedIn's the only social media I have, so if you don't come at me there,
You
we're
know
not
what?
talking.
They're starting to say that LinkedIn is the new dating app, which I hate.
It's wild to think after Nora was able to negotiate $1,000, Allie kept a job for longer than 6 months, and I haven't fucked any leaders in my current job.
Yeah, good for us.
That
Good
we're
for us.
all still gainfully employed.
We're literally thriving in our
Goddamn
lives.
miracle.
Thriving.
Thrive.
Believe it or not, we're not making our money off this podcast, listeners.
This is for
Not
free. We're doing
yet.
this for fun.
Yeah, because our time is worthless.
As always, thanks for listening. If you're interested in even more bad advice, scurry on over to Instagram and TikTok at Bad Advice Only NYC. We're begging you. Download and rate the show and leave us a review. Talk to you next Monday.
Stay tuned, rats.